10:31 on this 9th day of February. Gotta let Elvis sing a little bit. You know, you can't turn the king off.
That's right. My wife would be disappointed if you did that.
Oh, I'm a huge Elvis fan. So that's something your wife, I have my jackets in pro wrestling are made by the same people that were making his jackets back in the 70s. I love it. It's a great thing. And Bill Dettmers, you are throwing your hat in the ring for the municipal election on April the 4th, correct?
Yeah, Wood River.
In Woods River. And we're starting the trek already. I know people were seeing the posts that we put out in our live schedule, and they go, is it already time for another election? It is, and we're ready for it. Bill, thank you for your time today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
This is great, and really appreciate it. I want to ask you, this is where I get to say the floor is yours, Senator. I'm going to ask you a little bit of an overview of your background and just a little bit of who you are.
Well, I'm Bill Dettmers. I moved to Wood River in 2005. My wife grew up in Wood River. She was a member of the great class of 69.
Nice.
And they have adopted me. So I'm now I'm an adopted member of the class of 69. I went to Civic Memorial class of 67, but they've been kind enough to allow me into their good graces there.
I've never met a guy that's a part of two reunions. That's fantastic.
But I've been a business owner for about 40 years now.
Really?
Yeah, I have a company called Gateway Pension Services over in St. Louis. We design and administer 401k, profit sharing, and cash balance type plans. So I have a pretty extensive background in tax law, that kind of stuff. So
that's incredible. So, you know, it seems like you're kind of busy as it is. Why now? I don't know. The laugh there kind of set it up. So why now? I mean, is there a couple of reasons on why you're throwing your hat in the ring?
Yeah. Back in 2019, it was December the 16th, 2019, as a matter of fact, my wife got some Facebook posts that the city was going to tear down the Roundhouse. And she was on the board back when she was in high school, and so she's very attached to it. But what concerned me the most was that they were going to build a new rec center to replace it.
Right.
And so I'm a fiscal conservative, and I was thinking, why are we doing this? So I went to the meeting, and I found out that wasn't in agreement with what I was being told. In fact, I thought I was being misled. So I started digging into what was going on, and I came out with some pretty negative views of what the city was doing. Now, I want to preface that by saying there are great people that work for the city, because when my wife and I lived there, my dad lived with me for 3 years, and the police, the fire department were constantly coming out to help take care of my dad and run him to the hospital and stuff. So I know firsthand how vital those services are. The street department's always been great. The water department, very satisfied with that. But what's happened is this rec center has divided the community like nothing I have ever seen in my life. And what I've come down to is the conclusion that there's two classes of employees in the city. And I hate to say this, or not employees, but two classes of citizens in the city.
Okay.
There's the politically connected and the political insiders and everybody on the outside.
Yeah.
The community overwhelmingly voted to save the Roundhouse and stop the reckless spending on the rec center. And the community has been stabbed in the back by this council to go ahead and build this rec center. We voted down that rec center 3-1, and they went around us and built it anyway. So the community is up in arms. They feel betrayed. And so what I think we need to do is take a look at how we got there. And I think what's happened is there was good intentions by the councils in the past to try to make sure that the employees were well taken care of. Because I've had employees with me. My oldest employee's been with me 25 years.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. And
You're right. You have the experience.
I know exactly how important it is to have good employees. But I think we've reached the point in time where the council is not being objective and in their decision making. They're approving all types of ordinances and approving contracts that, in my opinion, should not be approved. And the answer I keep hearing from them is, well, we have professionals that are running these departments, and we have to rely upon them. Unfortunately, some of these departments, the department heads, don't appear to be acting in a very professional and responsible manner. For example, let me give you a couple of instances. Back in 2018, after the city tore down the aquatic center, which was very popular with the residents, which was going to cost about $105,000 to fix. They decided to spend $110,000 and tear it down. Then they had city town hall meetings that were announced as official public meetings, but the Open Meetings Act requires that you have minutes of those meetings. They didn't keep any minutes of those meetings. That's very unprofessional. And so then they came back and they said, well, here's what we had in those meetings with no documentation to support it, and said, this is what we need to move forward to with the community. So that's how they got to the rec center.
I want to, and anyone that's watched me do interviews about candidates getting ready for elections, I don't put my opinion out there. I don't persuade people. I just ask, because I think a lot of what you're stating right now with the politically connected and the not politically connected groups, I think that's what a lot of small communities around the area are feeling like at this moment. There's a lot of disconnection, and there's not a lot of unity, and it's not agreeing on everything. It's just working towards that common goal to advance a township, a city, you name it. And with the rec center, I just got to point out, I was very confused about the process of it. I'm not saying right or wrong. There were so many different stories that were coming out that it was hard for me as a consumer of the news just to kind of follow along with it at the time.
Oh, sure.
And so I could only imagine being in the city. It seems like, living there, it was like one day it might be this way, the next day it was this way, and you're just kind of throwing your hands up going, what now? Well,
the community is pretty adamant that they did not want it.
Right.
And so what I think we've got to do now is we need to take a look at, they've pretty well got it halfway built now.
Right.
But the election's coming up, and people are asking, who should we vote for? Because there's a lot of mistrust with who the candidates are. Mm-hmm. Because they feel like, we've been promised from other candidates in the past that they were going to vote one way, and they didn't vote the way that the citizens thought they were going to vote. So I think the key thing is that we need to try to find out who the people are that are running for council, and understand what's their background. Are they connected to the people that are inside of the city already, and what's their relationship? What's their experiences? Because a lot of the council members right now, I think the mistake that they're making with their votes is they have too much belief and confidence in some of the decisions that are being made by the department heads that they need to be questioning. For example, we had back in 2019, in April 2019, we had the vote to pass the 1% sales tax.
Okay.
And
right, I do remember that.
Okay, well, that barely passed. It was like 53 to 47.
Right.
But the city got involved with electioneering, which is prohibited by law. They were posting signs inside of City Hall, vote yes. They had vote yes signs on every city property. And they even have an ordinance against electioneering and signs on city property, but they violated their own ordinance. We had employees mailing out mailers to residents to vote yes for the 1% sales tax. So it passed.
Right.
And then then they decided that they were going to pursue the rec center. That was in 2019, I guess. In 2020, I started a campaign to stop the reckless spending and save the roundhouse. The city then started a campaign to try to defeat our referendum. They were using department heads and city employees and city resources to fight against our campaign to try to defeat it.
Right.
So those types of activities we need to be very careful with, and I don't think that that's the type of stuff that they should be engaged in.
Well, real quick, not to cut you off, and this is just, because there's a lot of, information that's coming that you're detailing that honestly, I'm just going to be honest, I hadn't really heard about, because I guess I'm not in the thick of it.
You're not in Wood River, but
right.
people
but
in Wood River are pretty familiar
If you live in it, I think, it's right there. But what I'm hearing, too, is that it doesn't seem like there's a lot of wiggle room just to have a dialogue on what's truly right, and let's get to the bottom of it
well, we've
now.
asked for, we asked for town hall meetings, and the city voted it down. They didn't want to talk about it. Right. We asked them to give us a vote to approve the financing. They voted that down. They were not interested in any opinions from the public. They were only interested in ramming through the rec center. And that's where a lot of the problems are coming from.
Absolutely. And I didn't mean to cut you off there. I just think it's an interesting correlation. It just seems like there's so much going on that it's kind of hard to follow along if you're outside of it. And that's why I love having, candidates on like yourself, sir, because everyone needs to be informed on what candidates' thoughts are, what their platform is, why they're running. They don't need a little media head that has a pompadour to put his opinion out there. They just need, you know what I'm saying? They need to hear it straight from you guys. And it seems like there's a lot of enthusiasm, regardless of what side of the, there's no political aisle here. It's a local election, but what side of the aisle you're on philosophically, it doesn't seem like that's really mattering. It seems like from what you're describing, people want they want
lower taxes, lower fees. That's the kind of stuff that,
right.
And the problem is the rec center is not going to make that possible. That 1% sales tax was passed, and it's bringing in about $1.5 million a year.
Right.
Now, they promised that they were going to spend the money on infrastructure. The problem is the rec center is not infrastructure under the state statute. They are misappropriating funds to be spent on this rec center's construction.
What's the state, just to ask you, what is the state statute?
The state statute says that the 1% sales tax can be used for property tax relief, municipal operations, and public infrastructure. They define public infrastructure as streets, roads, sewers, flooding, sidewalks, that kind of stuff. In 2002, when they passed the 1% sales tax, they made an exception for DeQuoin and another city to use the money for schools. So you cannot use the money for schools, police stations, hospitals, that kind of stuff, nor rec centers.
And see, now that's interesting. I didn't know that. And that's something that I'm very glad you talked about, because sometimes we hear terms, but we really don't know what defines that. And,
well, that's what the statute says.
Yeah.
Now, I've made the council aware of that, but they're ignoring that. And they're continuing to push forward the misappropriation of these funds. And what I want to do after I get elected is I want to have the money restored to the 1% sales tax from the city resources that are being misappropriated on the rec center, and put it back into the 1% sales tax so we can put it back into things that the voters approve, which public infrastructure like the sewer separation plant, the detention ponds, the water treatment plants, sidewalks. Those are the types of things that the city said that they wanted to do, but the rec center does not fall into that category.
Absolutely. And it makes sense with the way you defined it. I mean, if that's what the statute says, I mean, that's what the statute says. And I just want to ask you this, and don't take this the wrong. Did you actually want to run for this position,
no,
or
sir.
did you kind of just feel like you had to at this point?
That's basically where we're at. I never ever wanted to run for political office. I'm at the point in my life where I don't need the headache.
Yeah, you're right.
I would rather spend the remaining years of my life with my family and my grandkids and enjoying my grandkids. Mm-hmm. I didn't go to the council meeting Monday night because I wanted to go to my granddaughter's volleyball game.
That's more important in all seriousness.
And that's the thing I'm going to be missing. So if I get defeated, I will enjoy the rest of my life with my family. But if I get elected, I'm going to dedicate myself to turn this city around, because I think the city now has been classified as an economically depressed community.
Absolutely.
And I'm embarrassed. The council and the past councils should be embarrassed by letting the community to deteriorate to that state. There's no reason why Wood River needs to be considered an economically depressed community. What I'm going to call for after I get elected is, the first thing I'm going to do is I want to have the budget reviewed. I want to see how we're going to be able to, first of all, I'm doubtful that this rec center is going to be able to sustain itself. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to rely upon the Park and Rec director, who made the comments that he knew how to raise the money to make it successful. If he can, then that's fine. But I don't want the Park and Rec director coming back and asking the community to support that rec center with tax dollars from the community. He's going to have to figure out a way to make it work. If he doesn't, there will have to be budgets from the Park and Rec department. Also, I'm encouraging the city to remove the rec center entirely from the public roles and enter into a public-private partnership with the YMCA or somebody like that. When I was growing up in Bethalto, we did not have a Park and Rec department. Edwardsville, I don't know what kind of a Park and Rec department they have, but the YMCA runs most of their Park and Rec programs over there. They got a wonderful facility. So I'm not opposed to Park and Rec centers.
Right.
I'm just not wanting the community to have to support it at this time, because we got too many other important things got to be taken care of.
Well, and that's an important thing to I wanted to highlight there. You weren't saying, never, but
No.
There's just different things in your mind that are priority over that entity, that center. And it makes sense, because you're right. What you've eliminated today has just been different portions to me that are more important than than what we just talked about with park and rec centers and
Right.
utilizing them. And I think it's great to highlight that too. So if there's an individual going, oh, he never wants this, that's
No.
not necessarily the truth at all.
No, I mean, if it's successful and it can pay for itself,
Great.
that's fine. But I have serious doubts it's going to be able to do it. I don't know of any rec centers in the area that does pay for itself. I would, like I said, I'd much rather see the YMCA or Boys and Girls Club or somebody come in and operate it. That way we've got that operating expense off the taxpayers' backs. That way we can focus the money on the pensions, reducing the fees. The people are screaming about the water and sewer fees.
Right. And we are getting some texts coming in, and if they're doable, I don't read every text question, Bill,
Okay.
because you never know what they're going to send in.
Sure.
But if it has to do with, oh, that's for Alton. Hey, I can't answer the Alton question. I get what you're saying, and I'm totally in agreement with you. I really am 314. I can't answer that question at this time, but it is a great point. We'll talk off the air. But in terms of this, we're 2 months out. You're not even. You're less than 2 months
Yeah.
out at this time.
About 7 weeks.
Yeah. And it's almost crunch time here, right?
I'm working very hard. I've had requests for over 300 yard signs. I've been putting those out. I'm getting my mail campaign ready, and we're going to be doing some advertising.
Now, in terms of support, how do you feel the community is kind of adapting or taking your campaign so far?
It's overwhelming.
Really?
It's overwhelming.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I can't say how much I appreciate. You know what? It's humbling. It's very, very humbling for me, because I'm going out and I'm meeting with the public, and they know that there's something wrong, but they don't really know what they need to do.
Yeah.
I think that my experience as a business owner is going to help me cut through the issues and get to the real problems and address them. I think that's where it comes. Well, my business experience as a businessman is going to make the difference, I think.
Absolutely. And for the folks at home that we did start the interview a little bit early. We've been talking for about 18 minutes now. Bill, you're getting ready to embark on this final stretch. If you are elected, what can you tell the voters here today? If you're elected on April 5th, what can they see?
4th.
Well, no, the 5th, because you got to pick the night to...
Well, I don't get sworn in until May.
Oh, well, then what the hell? And so in May, listen, I make an ass out of myself once an interview, okay, Bill? But what? So in May, you're sworn in. The next day, that night, what can voters expect out of you?
I think that we're going to need to take a call for a review of the budget process.
Yep.
I'm also going to be asking for a time and attendance audit of each of the department heads and the manager. And I'm going to ask for an independent legal review of all the activities that have been going on over the last few years to make sure that the policies and procedures that we have are appropriate, because some of the stuff that has been going on is not professional, is not in accordance with the law. And I don't understand why these things are happening. People are asking, how can we be having a $400,000 street vac truck that was just approved last summer? The city has an ordinance that requires 2 separate bids.
Yeah.
The bid was put together to where only one company could bid on it. So we had 2 bids, but one company couldn't bid on it, submitted a bid, but it didn't meet the specs because they took the specs directly from the company that they wanted. Now, if that's what the city employees want, if they want a specific truck, that's fine. Put the specs out, but you get 2 bids from 2 companies on the same truck. But the way that they did it was totally wrong, and the council still approved it because of their confidence in the department head. That's where I'm having an issue with the council. I know people are frustrated about this because that is not working in the best interest of the community. Whenever you're out there and you're getting basically one bid, how do you know you're getting the best deal?
Absolutely.
So you need to be worried. If you're a department head, your focus should be on how can I minimize costs to this community and get me the best product and service for the community. Anything short of that, you're not doing your job.
Absolutely. And Bill, I couldn't have wrapped it up better. We've been talking for about 20 minutes now, and I really thank you for your time, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck ahead of your campaign.
Thank you so much.
And we are doing, for all of you at home watching live or on demand later, we are doing election night coverage here on RiverBender.com. You'll be hearing me, Rick Fasten, Dan Herkert, a few of the political guys from around the area. We're going to sit there, give some analysis, and just give the results. And if you win that night, are you going to call in and let us know about it?
I'll be glad to.
Awesome, Bill. Well, thank you for your time. It's 10:51 on this 9th day of February. We're going to take a quick break, come back, and wrap up our Thursday morning in downtown Alls.